So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, and it is the Demetra K show. I want to say right off the top that it is not live. It is not live because sometimes I'll watch as it's premiering and I'll see people saying, is this live? No, it's not live. It's something that we pre-record. And so I'd like to again say thank you to Donovan for being here on Tuesday, where we have our little podcast and we chit chat amongst each other. And as y'all, maybe I look a little bit differently because I'm on a laptop. My other computer, it's tripping. So I'm gonna have to go get me another one so I can be in my full glory and all of that. So bear with us.
So real quick, before you gloss over it, your laptop is tripping. What technically could be wrong with it?
And there's something to do with the Ethernet connection. So if I can't get it fixed somewhere, then I'm gonna have to get another one. But everything else on my computer works. It's just that. So when the lightning hit the other day when I was live with Walter, my streaming hasn't been the same. So it's something crazy, a fluke that happened. Unfortunately, Texas is still shook. So anyway, cool. Yes. So today we are going to be talking about two things. Donovan and I decided to talk about two subjects as we are here. So that way it's not like, so how's the weather? So today we're going to talk about Justice Clarence Thomas taking an L out there. People are blaming him and they asking for his impeachment, a whole host of other things in regards to Roe versus Wade and a couple other things that he says that the Supreme Court should look at in regards to some things that's going on there. And we'll get into that. We're also going to talk about a situation. Unfortunately, I can't play the video because I don't have the capability to do it. Well, Donovan might be able to if he figured it out. I don't know. But it was about a lady who has kids, and her son's father brought him food.
One of her son's fathers.
Yeah, one of her son's fathers brought his kid food, but didn't bring food for the other kids, and all hell broke loose. So I hope to be able to show that to you all. So Donovan, what say you before we get started?
Well, what says me is, welcome to the Demetra K podcast, you guys. It's great to have you guys here. It is hot out here in Southern California as we go through a heat storm. So you guys got those ACs, get them running. If you don't, please get you some solar stuff. They have that new little box AC where you put the water in and it like cools a little room and stuff like that. So if you can't afford it, they go for about $40-$80, between $40 and $80. You guys can get that to keep your bill down. So do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button, and even become a member, because Demetra K seems to be going in a direction as like Aunt Maxine. She is going to lead Black women to the promised land. So sit, relax, as Demetra K and I get into this very, very good subject of the father bringing food to his child. Let's go.
Absolutely. And so anyway, again, as you guys know, Roe v. Wade, which is the 1973 Supreme Court ruling that said that women, after all, do have right to privacy and a right to decide whether they want to have an abortion or not. Now, so much has happened from that. So from that point, women were able to do what they wanted to do. And then recently the Supreme Court said, well, you know what? After all, we don't have the right on a federal level to make that decision. And so we're going to bounce it back to the states and allow them to decide what they want to do with the case, right? And so a lot of states, I think is up to 30, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, give or take. Most of the southern states, if not all of them, are saying, you know what? Yeah, we're going to make it illegal for women to go and have abortion. They do not have a right. They can't be pro-choice, and they do not have a right to privacy. I guess that's what they're saying.
Right, and they're also saying that they're trying to criminalize women who go to states. There are 13 free states that still legalize deletion, and what the conservative states are trying to do is criminalize women who do go over there and get a deletion.
Right, and so so as it stands, I forgot what I was going to say. So
if they're criminalizing deletions.
So they are going to be criminalizing it if you decide to do it, but a lot of the states are saying you can come over here and do it. Companies saying they will pay for women to, if they work at that company, to go have it done per se. All right, and so actually Justice Samuel Alito, he was the one that wrote a dissenting opinion. No, it wasn't a dissenting opinion. It's, I forget the type of opinion that it was, but he
concurring opinion.
No, it was something else. But anyway,
Okay.
it leaked a couple of months ago that they were thinking about overturning Roe v. Wade. And so from that point, all hell broke loose, and they finally did it as of this last Friday. But people are blaming that of Clarence Thomas. When I say blaming, they are really going hard in the paint, because he says basically, now let's think about, and I'll read it to you here, because he was more or less like, there's a couple other cases that deserve due process. And those cases are laws against contraception, sodomy, and same-sex marriage. And it says, basically prompting Democrats to warn that the Supreme Court, led by Justice Thomas, will soon be targeting birth control and gay rights. So that's what people took out of it. And from that point, he has been called the N-word. And I'll go ahead and, Donovan, whenever you're ready, put that up. Donovan is actually working that side of the screen for me because I cannot. He's been called the N-word. People have been calling for him to be lynched, and petitions have gone out to get him impeached and all of that, whenever you're ready, to get him impeached. And so we're going to have the conversation as to what's really going on here. Why is Clarence Thomas being targeted the way he is? Because as it stands, it was 6 other justices, because it was 6-3, 6 being the conservative judges. All of them ruled in favor of overturning Roe v. Wade, and the other 3 Democrats, they did not. And so the other justices are Justice John Roberts, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, that decided to, go with it. And then also Amy Coney Barrett, they all decided to overturn it. And so why is Clarence Thomas taking the brunt of what's going on? And so this is what one of the tweets that was said, and it says, this tweet is sickening. So I guess it's in regards to something about Clarence Thomas. And it says, Clarence Thomas is a dirty, I meant to black that out. Sorry about that. Porch monkey. And
no, you didn't.
I did actually. And as a trans woman, I'm giving everyone permission to use the N word on him. So porch monkey not being that great of a word is something that white supremacists used to call us, and they still do back in the day. And so, this is one of the milder tweets out there about Justice Clarence Thomas. Of course, by now you guys know he is Black. And so, he says that they're giving everybody the permission to call him an N-word, because allegedly he is going to be targeting that of gay rights. And so he's basically saying that the laws as it stands deserve due process. And I guess basically making sure that they have jurisdiction or standing to decide what's going on with those laws, opposed to the states, just like that with Roe v. Wade. And so it also sounds like a lot of white women are really, really mad at Justice Clarence Thomas for, Roe v. Wade and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I'm like, why y'all mad at him when it was Justice Samuel Alito? His opinion is the one that got leaked. So he's the one that got the party started. But y'all mad at Clarence Thomas, and trust me, listen, I ain't no fan of Clarence Thomas at all. I mean, we've seen Clarence Thomas since 1991. He's been sitting, that's when he was confirmed in October 1991. But we specifically remember Clarence Thomas because of the Anita Hill situation, in that she came forward to accuse him of sexual harassment, and she was raked over the coals by Republicans. And, Joe Biden was sitting as the chairman of the Justice Committee, and he allowed his Republican buddies to do it. And as of 2019, he, apologized because when he was running for office, rather, he apologized to Anita Hill. And she says, yeah, he called me. I don't know if it was much of an apology, but yeah, it was something along those lines. Also found out that in 2010, his wife, Jeannie Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife, called Anita Hill and left a message on her answer machine, and told her that you owe me an apology for what you did with my husband. So I don't know if they did something, or if she was basically saying, for you accusing my husband of doing something with you, or whatever the case is. And so we're going to get into this. And then, of course, we're going to get into the other half of it. So, Donovan, what say you? Do you think that Clarence Thomas is what he's getting is just desserts, or what?
Well, you guys can see me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I don't really think he's getting his just desserts, because we're comparing apples and oranges. Now, here's my question that I have for everybody out there. a lot of white women that are on the right are happy that this has happened and all this other stuff. And you don't see them calling him the N-word and all this other stuff. Now, I'm kind of confused because these are liberal white women that are calling Clarence Thomas the N-word. So you mean to tell me all of this time, this is what they think of black people? And then I have a question in regards to sodomy. How are they going to revisit sodomy when sodomy is such a broad term that encompasses a lot of things? So all of you heterosexuals out there that like getting a little head, that's considered part of sodomy. So it isn't just a homosexual thing. And then where is it in this country now that we are now seeing minority rule? I thought it was majority rule when it comes to the United States. I'm just getting a little confused because it seems like more and more, especially since the term of Donald Trump, the veil is being lifted off all of these so-called liberals. And it's basically showing me, and I'm speaking for myself, that a lot of these liberals are the very people that the so-called civil rights movement fought against that are now showing their racism outright. So are they our friends or are they our foes? And if we can't identify either or, we got a problem.
Absolutely. And so, back to your point, and, the other points that people are making is it seems like it's white women who are mad at Clarence Thomas, but I'm not surprised that they're mad at Clarence Thomas opposed to being just as mad at the other ones, because white people, and I think especially white women, expect for black people to just do their bidding, right? Now, let's not get it twisted. Clarence Thomas is doing the bidding of white supremacy, on the right, you know what I mean? He's helping them, whatever they want to do. But I think those white women just felt like, him being a Negro, or maybe because he's married to a white woman, he should be looking out for our better interests. But as a black woman, I say, I'm not in love with Clarence Thomas. He actually is looking out for the interests of black people, because with this, ban on abortion on a federal level, that actually protects black babies, and what I would imagine have maybe some more black babies born if they are outlawing abortion. So I think, sorry about that, my mic. I think that helps black women, but white women are, pissed because they want to go to the clinics and do what they got to do. But it's not surprising that they're blaming him. It's just typical of what they do. It's easier for them to blame the mark, if you will, the black guy, opposed to their own people. And at the end of the day, it's their people. And as I always say, white women, they mad and they, take it to the streets. But it's like, y'all keep going in there and voting for these old white dudes. Yeah. Y'all keep going up in there voting for these dudes who are wanting to control your body, as you say. And so y'all loyal to the soil, but then it comes back to bite you in the butt, which little butt you have. And now you're upset. It's like, you can stop that by stop voting for them or vote them out of office so you can have the rights you say you want. But you won't do that because you know that at the end of the day, that white man is dependent on you to keep y'all relevant. So y'all mad and, out in the public, but that's the same thing like y'all was supposed to vote for white Hillary Clinton. They didn't go vote for white Hillary Clinton. They went and voted for Trump. So did you vote against your better interest to keep white supremacy in place? Yeah, you did. So pick a struggle, white woman.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because they were this past weekend, they were asking people that were protesting across the nation, their opinions. And they went to a lot of millennials and people like that. And the funny thing is millennials are starting to sound like a bunch of black people, especially us in the new black media, where we're calling for these Maxine Waters and stuff, because they were saying the same exact thing. We need to vote these old people out of office. You think that you would be in this situation if that person had long been gone. This is why the need for term limits needs to start happening. If the president should have term limits, there should be term limits on congressional members. Now, the term limits got to be a little bit different because I don't think, you serve one term in the Senate and that's it. But at 6 years a term, that's more than what the president serves. So yeah, 2 years in the 2 terms in the Senate is enough. Now in the House of Representatives, maybe five should be the limit terms. That's 10 years. More than enough experience, more than enough time to stuff your pockets with tax dollars and go and live a great life.
Right. No, Absolutely, but they're not going to retire, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all caught the BET Awards. I rarely watch it, but this time I just happened to be not doing anything. I watched it, and Kurt Franklin, I think, gave one of the best speeches I've heard. He basically was admonishing the church and saying, y'all need to learn how to pass the baton. He says a lot of y'all die with the baton in y'all hand, and y'all
Mhm.
need to give up control and leadership to the younger generation. And what he was doing was, as he won his award, he says, "I'm gonna." He called up another group that was nominated, and he handed his award to them and says, "This is what passing the torch looks like. This is what passing the baton looks like." But he says, you know, y'all, these old pastors are sitting up in the church,
Them
you know,
old niggas.
wielding power and stuff, but yet y'all won't pass the baton. And so it sounds like, you know, the black church to some degree is mad at Kurt Franklin, but I'm like, that's nothing new. They stay mad at him. They was mad at him when he first came out. They was like, oh, there's some secular music and, you know, that kind of stuff. And so I say all that to say, yeah, I always say there's never enough of more. And to those older people who are not the baby boomers, they're the silent generation, the generation that came before the baby boomers. Imagine that, right? The generation that came before the baby boomers are
The
still in
babies
office.
boomers parents generation.
Yeah, they still in office and they're holding on to the power like, you know, they 16 years old. And I'm not saying that they're not capable because they're older, but it's like your ideas are antiquated. Your ideas are older and you're not willing to move forward and say, okay, if we are truly calling ourselves progressive, progressive means to progress. But the way they're doing it, they just need to say we're stagnant, right? Because everything we do is just stagnant. It doesn't go anywhere. It just serves us and anybody that directly touches us, but it doesn't really serve anybody else.
Well, you know, when we're talking about these people that have been in office for 30 years, your Maxine Waters, your Jimbo Clyburns, your Sheila Jackson Lees, and all these other people, I kind of agree with you. It ain't really their fault. It's the fault of the bosses, which is us. We have to get out of this mentality and unlearn the fact that the House of Representatives is exactly what it says it is. The House of Representatives. Public servants go there. We are the bosses. So show me on your job, unless you're like Dimitri and other people who are entrepreneurs and onto themselves, they work for themselves. But even working for yourself, show me where you can demand and want a raise, but you don't get audited about your performance. Only in Congress and in politics do we think, oh, we're going to pay you out of our pocket and you're going to go there and do nothing for us. We get nothing in return, or you have an attitude to treat us like shit. You are not the leaders. We are the leaders. You're going there to do what we tell you to do. And until we learn and unravel that, which is something that our parents instilled in us, we're not going anywhere. And that's why these older people sit up there and they say, well, what you going to do? Who going to check me, boo? All you got to do is vote me out.
Yeah, but the other problem to that is you know, their generation tends to vote more. You know, millennials and our generation, we I think we're fairly okay as far as voting. But that generation votes because they were told from the civil rights movement or even before that, right? You got to get out there and vote if you want to make change. And you know, in all fairness, they were the ones that really have boots to the ground as far as the marches and stuff like that. So that generation feels like if I don't get out there and vote, then I'm not doing my part. But they never answer the other question, or the other side to that is, okay, well, what are you getting out there and voting for? Are you voting just to say you're doing it? Or are you voting to get something? And now when I say get something, I ain't talking about just a little bit of here's a little peanut or a little biscuit. I'm talking about, are you actually voting to say, okay, I'm moving the ball for my people. I'm getting these people in office because they are going to do this, that, and the other, like other communities do, right? They don't allow their Congress people or senators or whoever it is, you know, dog catcher. They don't let them sit in office if they're not doing anything. They say, okay, you know, Mary or Jim, they're not doing their job and we've given them a term or two. We need to find somebody else, get them in, somebody who's actually going to bring home the bacon for us. And then if they don't work out, we'll do the same. That's what it's about. Like you said, when you're on a job, if you're a boss, and I asked somebody this not too long ago, when they had a massive layoff at their job. And they was like, well, I don't think it's fair to do that to people. How, you know, they're going to eat, blah, blah, blah. I said, let me tell you something. when you're the owner of a company, the last thing you consider is emotions and feelings. What you are considering is your bottom line. And
Exactly.
if you're in the black or if you're in the red, that's what you consider. And I said, and that's what you're supposed to do. But with the same thing with voting, we can't go on emotions. Well, I just feel like Maxine Waters is reclaiming her time, and I just like them fish fries. And I think we can't go on emotion. We got to go on pure logic when we go into the booth. I know, yes, Maxine is a cute old lady. She's cute, depending on who you ask. But with her cuteness, is she doing stuff for the Black community, or is she out there just ranting and raving? And I have a video coming out on African Diaspora News Channel maybe tomorrow talking about Maxine Waters, who, was out there ginning up the mob with Black women, talking about, oh, we're going to have thousands and millions of Black women in the street. It's like, no, you're not. You're not. They're not going to do that. But even still, Maxine, as I said in the video, y'all see it, you don't need to be talking to the Black women. Go talk to the white women who keep putting those white men in office to control their bodies. Talk to them.
Right. And if you really think about it too, I agree with you that the civil rights generation is more conditioned to vote. But here's one thing that a lot of people don't know this. They're losing voters every day by attrition. They are no longer the biggest voting bloc anymore because, again, a lot of them are in their 70s and they're starting to pass by the wayside. So now you've got the younger people coming in, and a lot of young people see the future that isn't there. There's nothing left for them. There's nothing has been left for them. I mean, it's curtains at this point. So a lot of people are waking up with that. But let me ask you this: when you were talking about Maxine, just real quick, and some of these congressional Black women, like I said, I have yet to see a white congressional woman other than AOC, white Hispanic, actually say something in regards to Roe versus Wade. Most of them are like, yes, great. Thank you for saving the white life and all that other stuff. I'm seeing all the white women saying that stuff. I don't see the Democratic white. Has Hillary made a statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, she made a generic statement. It wasn't nothing like bone chilling, like, oh, we're going to do something, whatever. But my point is this.
Yeah.
Even if Hillary did make a statement, how does Roe versus Wade affect 70 something plus women? Why are they getting upset? That's my question. I'm looking at them like, why are they upset?
Well, it's that carrot. It's that dangling carrot. The dangling carrot to, or as I say, the gin for the mob. Look what they're doing to you. Look at they being the Republicans. Look at the Republicans. They're trying to take away your reproductive rights, women, and we need to mount up. But it's like, here, let me tell you something, Hillary. They didn't even show up for you.
Right.
They showed up for Trump. So the point that I'm making is they know that. And also, why ain't they hanging, or putting Joe Biden out there? He's been anti-abortion for a very long time.
Yes. Did you see my my fact check thing that I put out?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, but he's been anti-abortion for a very long time, and he's as quiet. I mean, he says a little something here, but why ain't he getting his toupee all flipped up over what's going on? Because he can't really do that.
Well, the thing is, he's a Catholic. He's an old school, hardcore Catholic. And if you know anything about the Catholic Church is very anti-deletion. We're very anti-deletion. So he's definitely not going to say anything about that. People keep giving this man a pass, talking about, well, there's really nothing he can do. The president has the power to call back Congress at any time he chooses. Now, Dimitri, you're the president. You have the Senate and the House. This situation just now exploded. No, can you overturn what the Supreme Court just overturned? No, necessarily you can't, but you can call in Congress and tell Nancy Pelosi, we need you to put another bill that is going to either circumvent or protect in some way women's rights, and I will sign it right now. Do you want to know how I know he can do that? Gavin Newsom just did it here in California. And there's a few other states that they've done it, where they're going to ensure that women that come from other states will get deletion privileges here in California. How did he do that without calling the full, well, he called the full assembly in. As we know, majority of the assembly in California is Democrat, so they have the votes. So it was basically call the Speaker of the House, call the Speaker, the Assembly Leader. There's your bill. He signs it. Done.
Absolutely. So, I mean, also people need to realize is that Congress is the boss and the Supreme Court just interprets the Constitution.
Right.
Congress can add, rewrite or whatever they need
Codify.
to do the Constitution. Yeah, they can codify. So they are the boss when it comes to the laws of the land. Supreme Court is just there to interpret the laws and maybe make precedents where they rule on something that's never been ruled on, but they don't create law. And so, like you said, Joe Biden could impress upon Congress, which they happen to own. When I say own, I'm talking about the Democrats. Hey, something needs to be done, right? But let's check this out. Now, this is some kind of technology that I was just kind of thinking about, right?
Right.
In 1991, when Clarence Thomas was trying to be confirmed, if you will, and we know that eventually he was confirmed to the Supreme Court, they, being the senators, Republican senators, showed their entire ass when it came to Anita Hill. Okay. And Joe Biden just kind of sat back and watched them do it because as he referred to them as my buddies on the other side of the aisle. And we know that, Joe Biden is a Dixiecrat and he's more than just buddies on the side of the aisle with the Republicans. He sat back and watched them do it. So eventually, Joe Biden did say no. He did not vote for Clarence Thomas. But the fact that he had so many buddies on the other side of the aisle, it was 52-48 confirmation as far as the more Democrats voted no, Republicans voted yes, obviously. But it was also a Democratic-controlled Senate at the time. And so y'all don't think that Joe Biden got together with his Republican homies and say, listen, y'all know I got to say no just because, I'm supposed to be on the left and the left is pro-choice.
Right, you guys are going to lose this anyway, but don't hold it against me.
Well, yeah, they didn't lose. They actually, Clarence Thomas was confirmed.
Right.
But he probably y'all don't think he got with them and said, well, I'm going to vote no. Yeah, I know y'all going to vote yes. And enough of us on the side are going to vote yes. And he'll eventually be confirmed because it wasn't a secret. And that was the biggest point, the contention point with Clarence Thomas during the confirmation that he was against abortion. And, of course, that's why they kind of carted out Anita Hill to, also talk about sexual harassment. They said, in fact, that's when sexual harassment really became a thing and got to the forefront of the American people, because I think it was I forget which senator it was. I forget what it was, but he was the one that's talking about, well, big boob jokes is not a big deal. People talk about big breasts all the time. So even at that point, men didn't really see it as being a big problem to talk like that in front of women, even though she was there saying, hey, Clarence Thomas, harassed me when he worked at the EEOC or he was over her. And so my point is, we need to start waking up and opening our eyes and knowing that these jokers on both sides of the aisle, they're in on the fix and they make it just look good to us. But like you said, Joe Biden being a Catholic, you guys are totally against abortion and contraceptive. Y'all having as many babies as the Lord will let you have. So he's a devout Catholic. So ain't no way he said it. He's not for abortion, although he
several times.
He voted against Clarence Thomas. But he knew his friends on the other side of the aisle would do it. So they kind of did the dirty work for him. So,
right. And I'm getting tired of these Biden butt kissers making excuses. Weren't you guys to say that, well, he's different. A leopard does not change its spots. It just doesn't. This man has been consistent his whole public life in his stances and what he's going to do. He's unapologetic about his friendship with Strom Thurmond and the Dixiecrats. He's not going to apologize for nothing. And yet this man goes up there day after day talking about what he can't do, like he isn't the president of the United States. So the Roe versus Wade comes out. He says, oh my gosh, this is a terrible thing. This is what we got to do. Demetri, did you get a text message asking $15 for you to, do something about that?
From Obama?
No, from the Democratic Party. They're grifting off of women's rights. That's what they're doing now.
I'm not registered to the Democratic Party, so I don't get anything from them.
Yeah, well, I got the little email or whatever the deal is. They're grifting off of women's suffering when, just like I just explained to you guys, if he really gave a shit, excuse my language, he could call Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer right now. They've got the votes. What's stopping him? Wait, you guys actually think when the midterms comes, that's going to change the Supreme Court ruling when the red wave is ready to happen? Do you guys really think giving the Democratic Party all of this money because they don't want to do anything? And then when I hear white women, liberal white women, talk about, oh, I feel like a second-class citizen. Wow. Now you kind of know, which is kind of bullshit because you're never going to be a second-class citizen because you're white. But now you know how it feels like some black people feel when we can't get a George Floyd bill. We can't get certain rights that you guys obviously enjoy on a daily basis. It's crazy.
But again, just like us, white women voted for their own oppression. I don't feel sorry for them, And like I said, y'all know how I feel about the whole abortion thing. I don't like it, but if God gives us free will, who are we to say that you're not, right? I don't like it, but this could potentially help black women. But I just think, like usual, black women will fall for the okie doke, thinking that we need to jump in or this is our fight. And like you said, most of those old cackling hens on the hill, they can't even have no babies. It's like,
right.
and y'all kids probably can't have kids at that point because Maxine and them, they older than my mom and dad.
Right.
So it's like
Maxine will be 84 years old this year.
Yeah, I can't have kids, just biologically, I'm done, right? So the point that I'm making is they can't have kids, and their kids probably can't have kids no more.
Or done having kids, or might be done having kids, right?
Yeah, unless they have sons. And so, unfortunately, black women who have been told they're the backbone of the Democratic Party will get out there and, we got to take up the mantle for women's reproductive rights. But it's like, come on now, as I said, only time Democrats care about a black life is when they want a woman to have the right to take it. That's the only time they care about it,
Right. Or every 2 years during a voting cycle.
Yeah, but then it's like, come on, sisters, we ain't learned nothing from the feminist movement when we jumped in head first trying to help white women, and we helped white women, but we helped ourselves into a deeper hole in our community and for ourselves. And so once again, you're gonna allow these white women to use you to get what they want. Don't you? Like, it will behoove us really to study history and say, okay, let's not repeat those same mistakes, but just let's not get it twisted. Yeah, there's a lot of white women on the left that are mad about it, but there's a lot of white women on the right are like, nah, shit, we know what we got to do. We got to preserve whiteness, and because it's at stake, right? The planet is browning, and so we need to produce as many white babies as we can. So but black women again will be pulled in the middle of it, and then when they get what they want, go home, mammy.
They throw you out of the moving car. But it's kind of crazy because, Derecha, when was the last time you saw? And I know there are some, but I'm talking about on a level that is like 911 level, like right now, call to urgency. When was the last time you heard a white woman step up for George Floyd, for black rights or black suffering or black anything? Other than Marianne Williamson, who brought up the reparations thing and put it on a national stage, I have yet to see Hispanic women, white, Asian, stand up for when black people are being choked out and murdered. They are silent. They are silent in our plight, but when it comes to their plight, we're supposed to get out there and march and kick indoors.
Well, let me ask you this. What can we do if they don't do anything or march? What kind of power do we have over them if they don't help us? None.
Right.
And they know that. They know that Negroes are always marching and swing lowing about something, and then we don't do anything about it. And so I'm going to say this. Should the Asians and the Hispanics help us? I don't know. It's debatable, but I'm not mad that they don't. Because like Felix Tijerina said in 1956, he's the president of LULAC. He says, hey, I'm not trying to go help the Negro. Let the Negro fight his own battles. I'm not interested in aligning with them. He said that. And so here we are still, they don't want to do anything for us. But yet, like, they got their own fish to fry. Black people, as Marcus Garvey said, we need to up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, not get with everybody else and beg them to help you so they can help you accomplish. No, you accomplish what you will on the like. Listen, I was at Walmart today. Let me tell you a profound conversation I had. I haven't been in Walmart in a minute. I haven't been in there. And when I tell you, I went in there and the shelves were getting empty. The produce section was pretty much empty. Or the stuff that was there was rotten. So I walked to the health and beauty aisle, whatever. And I saw a sister in there. And I asked her, I said, where's the face scrub? And she told me where it was. And I said, dang, it's pretty bare up in here, huh? She goes, yeah. I said, have you, working? Because she worked there. I said, working here, have you ever seen it this bad? She goes, I have not. And she says, you know what, though? We gonna be all right. I said, you know what? You right about that. You know why? Because Black people, we know how to weather the storm. We just used to doing it, unfortunately, but we know how to do that. But just having that conversation with her, it was really, refreshing to know that, yeah, Black people got it tough, but we are going to be all right because we usually are. But with that being said, imagine if her and myself and everybody else took that attitude. We gonna be all right, right? They gonna be all right too, right? We don't need to keep running with our little cup of water trying to put out they burning building. Right. They gonna be all right. We need to get together and stand. This is what I would wish for Black women. I love Black women because I'm one. But stop letting those white women use you. Like, stop it. They didn't use your mama. They used your grandmama. They used the great grandmama and, our ancestors against their wills. But we continuously allow these white women who mean us absolutely no good that will lie on your man if she needed to, because y'all know Roe versus Wade, Norma McCovey or whatever.
Yeah, McCovey or whatever her name is. Yeah.
She lied and said that.
Lied. The whole thing was a lie. And guess who was her lawyer? I knew it for a while, but I forgot about it. Gloria Allred.
Yeah, she lied and said that she was multiple assaulted by Black men. Yeah. And they really went ahead and granted Roe v. Wade, even though y'all know that lady never had one abortion. She never had an abortion.
Yeah, wasn't she a drug addict and alcoholic and stuff? She had addiction problems.
A horrible woman. And actually, I'm going to produce a story. I'm just waiting to kind of put it together because I want to draw a point to it. But she never had an abortion. She had a child at 16. She was
very rebellious. She was a very rebellious, the counterculture type stuff.
Her child is 16. Her mama was raising it. Once she get adopted out, and then this is the third one. She was like, I'm 21. I don't need another baby. So that's why then they told her no in Texas. And then she went to the Supreme Court with the lie. And then she ended up being against abortion. She was a big time Christian before she died. And she was like, I don't believe in abortion. But so you got all these women from 1973 up until now running around on a lie that she created, that she didn't even believe in when she died. Exactly.
And there's a audio, if you guys are interested, look it up on YouTube. There's audio of them actually interviewing her and asking her those questions that was kind of like taped at the Supreme Court or wherever they were taped, where she was getting a deposition or something. And she actually admitted, no, that didn't happen to me and all this other stuff. And when I was listening to it, I was like, why hasn't most people, especially a lot of these feminists, have they actually heard this tape? And if they have heard it, why are you guys still perpetrating this lie?
They have heard it, but they said it doesn't matter that, and I've seen it. I've done my research. We've seen it. It doesn't matter that she lied, because the premise is still the same, right? A woman should have a right to her own body. And so they just really gloss over the fact that it was all based on the lie of a 21-year-old who did not want to be pregnant again, even though I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't care if y'all get mad, she would not stop screwing. And I'm going to say this real quick as a commercial break. That's the problem with a lot of women out there. And I'm not trying to listen. And don't come at me with, what about rape and incest? Because we know that is 1% of abortions happen through rape and 0.5 through incest. So it's not even like all of it is a very small amount of it, but a lot of this will stop if people, men and women, I'm putting on men and women, stop screwing. Yes. Stop screwing.
Recreational screwing.
stop. Well, stop. Even if it's not recreational screwing. If you don't want a child and you're not prepared to take care of a child, you don't want to have a child with that person, stop screwing. Close your legs, zip up your pants, man, and say, listen, I want to make an informed decision and an informed insertion, okay, before I lay down with this person, that am I going to want to raise a child with this person? Can I afford to raise a child? Because children are expensive, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I was like, at some point, we got to start putting the accountability on the people who are now going to take to the streets and say, it's my right to just freedom.
Be irresponsible. It's my right to be irresponsible.
Yeah. So let's move to our next topic. Can you put that video up?
I sure can. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. Give me a second. Can you see it?
Yeah, yes, I can. And so you guys, if you guys are still here, if y'all could donate to the channel, we have a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We would love and appreciate you. Become a member. We'd love to have you here. Definitely like the video and all of the above. So I'm going to add this, and then Donovan and I are going to try to have a discussion about this.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Whenever you're ready.
Here we go.
Every fucking day, my baby daddy come here with one fucking meal for my child. But I have 3 other kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring one thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids McDonald's though? Like, that's bogus as hell. Like, you're not gonna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there you go. And I bet you he only got one thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose out of him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry? What he like? What do you mean? Okay, what about my other kids? What about your other kids? Okay, but them your kids' siblings though. What are you talking about? What are you them my kids, them your kids' siblings though. So what you? So my other kids finna be left out. You didn't feed them? You know I don't give my food stamps to the 7. Lisa, how is that my problem? But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out. I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help my son. How are you helping your son when you're only getting food for just him and not the other kids, his siblings? Lisa, them are his siblings though. He's not finna eat in front of all his other siblings, and they're not eating on McDonald's. No, why do I gotta put? Bring him out to the car. No. He's not finna eat that at all if you can't bring enough for everybody. Lisa, so you telling me? Every fucking day, my baby.
Donovan, I'll let you. Well, okay, let me introduce it. So, from what I understand, there's a TikTok user by the name of Anna Nicole, and she posted that on her TikTok, and there's another part 2. The part 2, they was the same on, and eventually he hands her the food, and then she tosses it in the street and says, basically, if my other kids aren't going to eat, then he's not going to eat either. So she throws the food in the street, and he takes off out, in his car, and he's mad and all of that. So Donovan, what do you say about this? Because you actually sent this to me.
Yes, actually, again, and this is not all women, but this goes to show you what a lot of men deal with the irrationality. Now, I do understand what she's saying about if you bring one, you should bring the other. But at the end of the day, that man is only responsible for the child that he brought in here. Now, we know when it comes with food and stuff, that's a serious thing. Now, for this, I guess I don't know this lady. I don't know her background. But when you are dependent on the government to feed you, you also got to remember that same government that feeds you or that person that feeds you can also starve you. So what kind of management is going on to where she can't manage food stamps, to do whatever she needs to do to get the staples, rice, whatever. But notice that he brought McDonald's, which I think is a bad thing to give your kids, period. That should be a treat type thing, but that's my own opinion. But it also, but again, it shows the irrationality about women. Because one thing the man said in the video was, where are their daddies? Where are their daddies? How did this man become responsible for kids that are not his? Now, again, should he have brought some more food? But think about it. We don't know what's in his pocket. Maybe he can't afford to support other men's children. So I think she was totally wrong, number one. I agree with her to have that conversation with him if he could do something and whatever. I agree with that part. But number one, her irrationality is wrong to put that man on blast because she can't manage her finances or whatever in her household. That was totally wrong to put that man on blast because in the in game, he did nothing wrong. He's supporting his child.
Yeah, so you sent it to me. I don't know who it was that was talking about it. Donovan watches a whole lot of things on YouTube. So some guy I've never heard of, and then I happened to see it, trending more once I got on the internet. I'm on the fence with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the fence with this one. My daughter watched it, and she, was pretty much like he should have brought food for the other kids, right? And I said, well, I, for one, because I'm a logical thinker. I like to try to get the things before I just answer. I said, well, I would like to know in what order is his child. So it sounds like maybe his child is the last child from what I ascertained from watching part 2. Okay. Because she's like, you knew what it was when we first got together type of thing. So that's what kind of made me think that maybe he got into her last and planted a child. Okay. Yeah. So I say that I'm on the fence because let's just go with that bit of information right there first. If she did have other children before he got with her and put a child into her, yeah, he knew what it was. And I just think, if you bring in kid food for your child, I don't want to say should. I just think I would, let's say I was in his shoes, I'd be like, I'm taking a Happy Meal for my son. Let me just go and get 2 more because I don't want the other kids to be watching him eat. Not that I'm not saying
or just get a pizza.
Whatever it is. I'm not saying should. I don't want to assign the word should onto, because that sounds like he's obligated to do that.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's what I would have done. I would have bought everybody food. Now, I'm going to jump over to the other side of the fence and say, sister, that's the kind of stuff you think of before you land down, busting it open wide and allowing anybody to just plant seeds in you. Because at some point did you say, I wonder if he would be good to my other 2 children before you laid down with him? Did he show you that he would be? You know what I'm saying? And the other side, I'm on the side of the fence still, is how dare you try to obligate this man to take care of your son, the other kids? I would want to know, where are they daddies at? And when they show up, are they showing up for food for everybody? Right. Or are you just imposing those demands upon this man? And like I said, I'm on both sides of the fence. I was irritated hearing her cuss and holler at that man for something that he wasn't doing anything wrong. Let's just put that out there. He wasn't doing anything wrong to deserve the way she talked to him. But it's like, so this is what not taking accountability for yourself comes in. I don't know how many other baby daddies she has, but you got this one who is not connected to the other ones, and you probably got more venom for him than you do the other baby daddies. Because are you hollering at them that way when they ain't doing A, B, C, and D, whatever that is? Or are you just talking to the one that's showing up for his child? And so the one
frustration coming out.
Well, not even at the frustration. It's the one that's showing up for his child. Seems like he loves his child and wants to make his child happy. Why are you doing everything you can to make it hard for that man? And then you filming him, and you putting him on TikTok to do what? To make you seem good. And then I'm one of those people too. When I watch people's videos, I noticed that there was garbage all the way around where she lives. And she's talking about her food stamps, and people get food stamps, so no shade. I'm not shaming people for that.
There's no shame in that. I wish I could get some food stamps.
Her whole environment just screamed ghetto and unaccountable for the decisions that I make. I tell you all the time, I got one daughter. I raised 3 of my brother's kids. Biologically, I got one daughter. I got one daughter because, for one, I was not with her dad anymore. And I did not, and just me, no judgment to nobody else. I can only speak for D. I did not want to have multiple baby daddies. I did not want that because God forbid. See, I envisioned that concept. I didn't want to have that. Well, your daddy came.
That attachment.
Mm-hmm. Your daddy didn't come today, or well, your daddy outside. I didn't want that. I'm just talking about me. But to my point about her environment is like, sister, you shouldn't have had no kids if that's how you living. Right. If you can't say you blaming a man because your food stamps ain't coming yet. Well, I don't know if maybe I don't seem like he's doing his part. Why is that his problem? That you are irresponsible. Like why? And this is kind of the low key part of the Roe v. Wade thing. I'm gonna try to squeeze this in best I can. That's the other side of the argument. Y'all out there irresponsibly having these kids, but then y'all want somebody else to be responsible because, like I said before, with the Roe v. Wade situation, a lot of states, a lot of these women are getting Medicare to pay for that. That they're not paying for that out of pocket. Because if they did have to pay for that out of pocket, they probably wouldn't be so irresponsible. So the point that I'm making is your environment is not all of that, but you hollering at this man in broad daylight in the middle of the street where everybody passing by could see. And for what? Because he didn't bring your other kids food and you don't have food stamps. Is that his problem or yours?
Right. And not only is she doing that in her neighborhood, she posted him on Facebook for taking care of his child. He didn't do anything wrong. If anything, that video makes her look worse and puts her in a bad light because everybody that has any common sense would say, because her rationale is this. Yes, judge, these aren't his kids. I want him to pay child support for this kid and these two other ones too. That isn't how it works, ladies. Winter is coming and you guys do not want to listen of what's happening. The laws are now being put to you guys as well as it's been put to us. You cannot go into a court and expect a man who is not your father's or not your child's father to take care of that child. Unless he wants to. We don't know what this man's situation is. For all we know, he has been helping you out month after month after month. And now you probably got used to it. He said, you know what? We're going into a recession. He's looking at the big picture. Maybe I'm just, paraphrasing whatever. And he's saying, hey, I got to pull back because this ain't my responsibilities. I like little knothead and squiggly. I like them. But my child has to come first, and I have to, I've got rent, I've got to pay. Everything is going up. How do you expect this man to survive? If you kill the golden goose, ladies, how do you expect this man to survive? And like he said, a lot of women missed this in the video. He said, well, where are their daddies? Where are their daddies? And notice she had no answer to come back when that question is always brought up. Where are the other daddies?
And my thing is, too, did you ask him all those questions before you let him hump on you? Did you ask him, do you like kids? Right. Are you willing to take us as a package deal? Because for whatever reason, they not together still. So, I don't know what the issue is, why she's not with him. Probably the same reason why she ain't with the other baby daddies. But at some point in time,
I think we know. If you saw the video and you listened to the video, I think I know why they're not together.
But, some point in time, we really just as humans got to start being accountable for the things that we do. You brought 3 babies in the world, potentially 2 or 3 daddies, and none of them are around, and you're acting a whole ass. It's like, get off your ass and go take your ass to work.
Right,
go
because
to work.
I'm paying for something that I didn't have any participation in. I'm paying for it.
But get off your ass. If you want your kids to have Happy Meals and all that other stuff, go get off your ass and go buy it. Why are you putting it on this man? And listen, I'm not mad at him. I know some women like, oh, well, he's a jerk because he didn't. Yeah. You know what?
He ain't no man, a real man.
Yeah, he's not obligated to do that. That is not his obligation to take care of those other kids. Now, like I said, it morally, I guess, how much is a Happy Meal nowadays? $2-3?
No, about $5.
I don't know.
$5-6.
Maybe that was all he had. We don't know that man's situation. But I want to say, sisters, and I know I ain't talking to y'all because y'all, the sisters that watch this, y'all dope. Y'all got it together. Stop that foolishness. Stop it. Stop that foolishness. All that loud talking and trying to film your baby daddy, get him caught up, because that usually just backfires on you. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, procreate with somebody if you got more kids or whatever that will take you as a package deal and that wouldn't dare think of taking a Happy Meal to just his son. I'll tell you this, my younger brother, you know, a lot of people don't know it. Well, maybe y'all do. We got different fathers. Me and Londa Walter got same mom and dad, and my younger brother, Jeremiah, we got the same mom, different dads. But when my dad would come and pick us up, or he would come spend the day with us, he would spend the day with my little brother too. If he gave us money, he would give my little brother money too. He never really made the difference between that ain't my son. He, you know, would hold him and play with him and all of that, you know. So I just think that's just being a good person. But the fact that that man did not buy that child food, that doesn't make him a bad person either.
Right. And here's another thing, ladies, you guys got to realize, with the way technology is, putting that video up, if I was a child care worker or whatever, and you're telling me that you have mismanaged and you have no food for your children, they could be at your door the next day. Why didn't she think about that? I mean, she's on video talking about, I have no, food for my children.
Yeah. You know? I mean, but how many?
We got to be smarter, ladies. We got to be smarter.
And listen, this is no judgment. Shit, I wish I could get an EBT card. I'd be up
me
in
too.
that mud.
Shit.
You
know
just
$50. Just give me 50.
Right. And this is no shade to anybody who's getting it, because I know all people don't do this. But I've been in the store and I've seen baskets full of bullshit. And I've seen the EBT card come out.
And wham-whams. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen it all. And so I'm not judging people's dietary choices. But yeah, if you run out of food stamps before you get some more, maybe you need to shop better and stop buying processed frozen foods and stuff in the can. You know, the Hot Pockets and stuff that's gonna go like that. Get you some flour, some meat, some rice. Some vegetables, and make a whole meal. Potatoes, shoot, man. Some of these helpers out here be getting $600, $700, $800 in food stamps, and you talking about you ain't got nothing left,
right? And she only had like 3 kids. But here's another thing too, because when I was watching the video, I'm like you. I look at the video. I was trying to look at her hands to see if her nails are done. I don't think they were done. But my point is, you always see women like this, and it's been proven, and not in all cases, but in some cases, it's been proven where women are taking child support money and stuff and doing what they want with it, and that's neither here nor there. But my point is, for you to get up there and say that the taxpayer, like you said, that are giving you $600-700 in food stamps, and you can't go a month. What are you buying? Is it like steaks for the first 3 weeks, and you say to hell with it? Daddy's going to pick up the slack or whatever. How are you eating? D, if I had $600-700 with 3 children, there would be. My grandmother you remember back in our days, you used to go there for the summer, all the grandkids would come. My grandmother would get food stamps, back then they had big families, so it wasn't unusual for everybody to have food stamps. She would always have extras. It would always go over to the next month. So I'm like, how could you not have enough?
The other thing too is we got to realize when your grandmama was, doing her thing and all of that, they didn't have as much convenience as we have now. When I say convenience, even at the grocery store, they didn't have all these ready-made meals. That kind of stuff was rare, right? The TV didn't come into play until the 50s and early 50s. 50s. So before then, the women were cooking from the ground up, literally going out to the garden and cooking and all of that. And so, I guess whenever food stamps came into play, then they had to go buy, flour, rice, and potatoes, and the whole chicken and cut it up, not the
red beans, all the staples.
Yeah, they cooked and nobody was hungry. Like, people have food, but nowadays, because you have all these ready, frozen made meals and this, that, and the other stuff, people are going out and being unwise with it, and that stuff actually costs more than to actually just cook it yourself. But that's part of it. And I tell y'all to watch The Century of the Self on YouTube. The Century of the Self. It talks about that, how the corporation took control from the household of the housewives back then. I know some probably gonna be like, housewives back then. And they said, here, well, kick your legs up. Just pop it in the oven. And it's ready in minutes.
But what's really sad about this? And you hear it in a lot of these shows and different things. A lot of these younger women, not Generation Xers, because we mirror our parents. We're like the last generation that actually mirror our parents, because our kids are totally different than we are because of technology. But a lot of the Generation Y and the millennials, these ladies have lost the art of cooking. I'm not saying all of them, but a majority of them do not cook because they were told, go to college and career. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying the fact of the matter is a lot of them start having children and they do not know how to cook because they were not taught how to cook.
Yeah, I mean, well, hell, with YouTube shit, you can learn how to cook anything. You can learn how to
Anything.
go outside, bite an ox and kill it and bring it home. I mean, I'm just saying, so
Right.
there's really no excuse. But yeah, just in closing with that girl who was doing all of that, shame on her. Somebody need to pull her to the side, preferably with her mama, but her mama probably act like that, and her mama's mama probably act like that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody with some sense in the community need to pull her to the side and say, listen, sister, should he have brought him the kid something? No.
Maybe.
Would have been a decent thing to do. Yeah, but you don't need to be acting like that, and you need to make better choices with the men that you are hanging out with. And then I'm sure her babies was watching her scream and holler at that man in the middle of the street. So it's like, what are you teaching them?
Right. And then what's crazy? Okay, none of your kids are they're hungry, right? You throw the food in the street. My mom would have taken that sandwich and cut it up into 3 pieces, and something is better than nothing. But the irrationality about this woman, she threw the fries and everything in the street. I'm very sure, like our grandmothers back in the day, would just make miracles every Thanksgiving, out of nothing. Cut that stuff up, give them a little piece. It ain't much, but it's something until you can figure something out.
And I also want to say before we leave, I don't know who that brother is. Mm-hmm. I want to give you a big shout out and a big ups for not wrapping both of your hands around her neck, because a lot of people would have. First of all, you talking to me like this in front of the show. I'm not saying listen. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for domestic violence. Okay, please don't mistake me in that. I'm saying big ups to the brother for not coming unglued, because we know there's a lot of dudes who would have came unglued, especially when she threw that food in the middle of the street after he drove to get it and drove over there and give it to the child
and wasted his money.
Big ups to him for getting in his vehicle and driving off and not driving over that broad, because a lot of people would have. Okay, so anyway. That's all we got here. Donovan, what say you before we get out of here?
Well, like I said, you guys do us a favor. Please like, subscribe, and share on your platforms, and even become a member. That way, when we do the podcast, you'll get notified. And then do not forget to join us Sundays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, my time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, where Demetra's at, for the Demetra K Show on Sunday, where we chop it up and talk about topics that are important to you and the community.
Absolutely. So we love y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow, Wednesday. I got to go get me a new computer, so it'll be up and running better and all that. I apologize for the inconveniences that you all have endured the last couple of days due to my shoddiness, and we're really Mother Nature, freaking nature, so y'all can blame her. So anyway, we'll see y'all tomorrow live with Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, also known as Wildin' Out with Walter.
Walter.
Peace.
Peace.